So Karnataka High Court recently gave a judgment with respect to the hijab case. The hijab case, which is commonly known or which is famously known as the hijab case, actually it is Resham versus the state of Karnataka case. अब इस केस में ये कंट्रोवर्सी जो मुद्दा था ये स्टार्ट कैसे हुआ कि कर्नाटका में कुछ कॉलेजेस ने ये बैन कर दिया, स्कूल में बच्चों को ये बैन कर दिया कि जो आपकी यूनिफॉर्म है वो यूनिफॉर्म कोड जो है वो सबके लिए सेम होगा और जो हिजाब डाल के द स्टूडेंट्स हु आर कमिंग टू द कॉलेजेस वेयरिंग हिजाब दैट इज नॉट अलाउड। अब वहां पे कई ये काफी कंट्रोवर्सी हुई दैट द स्टूडेंट्स आर नॉट अलाउड टू एंटर द क्लासेस, द स्टूडेंट्स आर नॉट अलाउड टू एंटर द कॉलेज कैंपसेस। वहां से ये मुद्दा उठा एंड देन द गवर्नमेंट गिव द ऑर्डर banning and stating that hijab is not allowed in the school as it is not permissible as a uniform code, and then the high court also intervened and gave the orders। अब ये मुद्दा जो था ये पहले हाई कोर्ट में गया और हाई कोर्ट ने फिर इसको लार्जर बेंच के पास भेजा और अब लार्जर बेंच ने इसका फैसला दिया है दैट लार्जर बेंच कंप्राइज ऑफ द 3 जजेस इंक्लूडिंग द चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ द कर्नाटका हाई कोर्ट। सो इन दिस Resham versus state of Karnataka, or as I have told you commonly known as the hijab case, the Karnataka High Court has upheld the hijab ban of the government in the schools, and moreover the Karnataka High Court has upheld the uniform rules कि जो यूनिफॉर्म रूल्स हैं, जो कोड है यूनिफॉर्म का जिसमें बच्चे डाल के स्कूल जाते हैं या कॉलेजेस जाते हैं, उस कोड को उन्होंने अपहोल्ड कर दिया है कि सबके लिए सामान्य प्रकार की या सिमिलर काइंड ऑफ यूनिफॉर्म कैन बी देयर। So what ideally the court has stated in this question, and what did the petitioners file? There were 4 major questions, but out of those 4, the 2 were more important for us from the exam point of view. The first question was that whether wearing a hijab or the scarf is a part of essential religious practice. So सबसे पहला सवाल ये उठा कि जो हिजाब है या हेडगियर है, हेडवेयर है, the women wear in Islam, is that whether it is an essential religious practice protected under Article 25 of the Constitution. कि क्या ये essential religious practice है which is protected under Article 25 of the Constitution. And the second thing we talked about, or the petitioners filed in front of the court for the consideration, was that whether prescription of school uniform is not legally permissible being violative of Article 19(1)(a), that is freedom of expression, and Article 21, that is राइट टू प्राइवेसी, कि जो स्कूल यूनिफॉर्म्स बच्चे स्कूल में डाल के जाते हैं अगर उनके ऊपर किसी तरह का कोड लगाया जाता है वेदर इट इज लीगली परमिसिबल और नॉट, दैट हिजाब वेयरिंग इज लीगली परमिसिबल नॉट, क्योंकि उन्होंने बोला कि यार कुछ फ्रीडम ऑफ एक्सप्रेशन भी होता है और कुछ राइट टू प्राइवेसी भी है अंडर आर्टिकल 21। अब ये दो केसेस, दो मुद्दे जो थे पिटीशंस ने फाइल करे इन फ्रंट ऑफ द कर्नाटका हाई कोर्ट। अब इसके ऊपर देखते हैं कि कर्नाटका हाई कोर्ट व्हाट जजमेंट द कर्नाटका हाई कोर्ट हैज गिवन। सो द फर्स्ट थिंग लेट अस डिस्कस अबाउट इज एसेंशियल रिलीजियस प्रैक्टिस, दैट व्हाट डिड द कोर्ट से अबाउट एसेंशियल रिलीजियस प्रैक्टिस, बिकॉज़ द कोर्ट firmly stated that wearing hijab is not an essential religious practice. Now what ideally is an essential religious practice? From where did this concept of essential religious practice started? So in 1954 in the very famous Shirur Mutt case, the court came up with the idea of doctrine of essential religious practice. Now in this particular case, in Shirur Mutt case 1954, the court talked about the idea of essential religious practice. अब ये जो essential religious practice है, ये चीज होती क्या है? ये essential religious practice उस रिलीजन की, हर रिलीजन की ऐसी एक प्रथा या ऐसी एक चीज है that the rituals, the practices or the scriptures without which the religion will be discriminated with or the essence of the religion will be suffered. राइट कि ऐसी कोई चीज कि सोल हो सकता है रिलीजन का, या कुछ ऐसी चीज कि जिसके बिना उस धर्म के ऊपर इंपैक्ट आएगा, उस चीज को एसेंशियल रिलीजियस प्रैक्टिस में कंसीडर किया जा सकता है। फॉर एग्जांपल इन हिंदुइज्म, going to the temple, idol worship. So idol worship is a very essential part of the religion of Hinduism. So that can be considered as an essential religious practice of Hinduism. Recently in Sabarimala case, the Supreme Court also brought in or elaborated this concept of doctrine of essential practice. राइट तो इस पर्टिकुलर जजमेंट में जो कर्नाटका हाई कोर्ट की जजमेंट थी, तो कर्नाटका हाई कोर्ट जजमेंट में कर्नाटका हाई कोर्ट ने सबसे पहले ये बात बोली, कर्नाटका हाई कोर्ट ने देखो बात सिंपल सी क्लियर है कि हमारा जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन है वो सेकुलर है, right? Be it is written in the preamble or it was added in the preamble in 1976 by 42nd Amendment Act. In spite of that, even if it is not written, कह रहे अगर वो preamble में ना भी लिखा होता फिर भी हमारा संविधान सेकुलर रहता, क्योंकि केशवानंद भारती केस में ही कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में, केशवानंद भारती केस में ही सॉरी सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने ये एक्सप्लेन कर दिया था, ये इंक्लूड कर दिया था दैट सेकुलरिज्म इज अ पार्ट ऑफ द बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन। तो चाहे वो लिखा जाए चाहे नहीं लिखा जाए, सेकुलरिज्म हमारे बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर का पार्ट तो रहेगा। अब उसी सेकुलरिज्म को इलेबोरेट करते हुए कुछ प्रोविजंस है हमारे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में दे रखी हैं, विच आर द फिफ्थ पार्ट अंडर पार्ट 3 दैट इज फंडामेंटल राइट्स, आर्टिकल 25 टू 28 जो बात करता है किस चीज की, जो बात करता है फ्रीडम ऑफ रिलीजन की, राइट। तो इन चीजों में 25 के अधीन ही अंडर 25 देयर इज फ्रीडम ऑफ रिलीजियस practices and doctrine of essential practices related to that. Now, in this particular judgment, the Karnataka High Court, other than talking about the state being secular, the constitution being secular, talked about one very important judgment with respect to the doctrine of essential practice, that is Acharya Jagdish Vardhana Adutta case. Now, in this particular case, the Supreme Court has basically stated that the essential practice does not include just the rituals of the practice, but also includes what is written in the scriptures. That what is written in the scriptures, that is also included in the doctrine of essential practice. कि जरूरी नहीं है कि सिर्फ प्रैक्टिस और रिचुअल्स ही हो, जरूरी नहीं है कि सिर्फ प्रैक्टिस और रिचुअल्स ही हो, ये भी है कि इंपॉर्टेंट कि क्या आपकी जो उस रिलीजन की धार्मिक पुस्तक है, उस रिलीजन की धार्मिक चीज है, उसमें क्या लिखा हुआ है, उसके स्क्रिप्चर्स क्या कहते हैं, that can also be considered as a part of essential religious practice. Right, that can also be considered as a part of essential religious practice. Another thing, that is the second case which is very very important, is Indian Young Lawyers Association case. In this Indian Young Lawyers Association case, the court gave 4 points. The court stated that not every activity associated with the religion can be considered as an essential practice. कोर्ट कहता है कि जरूरी नहीं है कि यार हर प्रैक्टिस जो रिलीजन के साथ एसोसिएटेड है, that can be considered as an essential practice. For example, the religion also evolves with time. The religion also evolves with time. अगर हम एग्जांपल लें, जैसे अब हमारे रिलीजन में कई सारे रिलीजन में डिफरेंट प्रैक्टिस जुड़ी हुई है, जैसे इस्लामिक रिलीजन में मॉस्क एक प्रैक्टिस जुड़ी हुई थी। अब 1990s में सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने इस्माइल फारूकी केस में यह कह दिया दैट मॉस्क इज नॉट द एसेंशियल पार्ट ऑफ इस्लाम, राइट। तो जरूरी नहीं है कि कोई भी प्रैक्टिस अगर किसी धर्म के साथ जुड़ी हुई है तो वो एसेंशियल रिलीजियस प्रैक्टिस ही होगी, ये इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है। दूसरी चीज इस केस में क्या कही गई, दैट फाउंडेशन ऑफ दिस प्रैक्टिस, कि जो प्रैक्टिस की हम बात कर रहे हैं एज एन एसेंशियल रिलीजियस प्रैक्टिस, दैट प्रैक्टिस में ईदर बी बिफोर द एस्टेब्लिशमेंट ऑफ द रिलीजन और शुड बी को-फाउंडेड विद द रिलीजन। कि जब रिलीजन की एस्टेब्लिशमेंट हुई या जब रिलीजन की एस्टेब्लिशमेंट हुई, स्थापना हुई, या तो वो प्रैक्टिस उस रिलीजियस प्रैक्टिस या उस धर्म से पहले की हो, या फिर वो रिलीजियस प्रैक्टिस धर्म के साथ ही को-फाउंड की गई। तो कह रहे इन दोनों चीजों में आप उसको एसेंशियल प्रैक्टिस मान सकते हो। तीसरी चीज, दैट सच प्रैक्टिस मस्ट फॉर्म कॉर्नरस्टोन ऑफ योर रिलीजन। दैट मींस एनी सच प्रैक्टिस which is being considered as an essential religious practice, that practice must form the cornerstone of a religion. कि मतलब that practice must be very very intrinsic to a religion. जैसे मैंने आपको एग्जांपल दी आइडल वर्शिप की, that such practices are very very essential to a religion, so that practice can be included or can be considered as a essential religious practice. कि मतलब उसके बिना धर्म चलेगा ही नहीं, उसके बिना धर्म चलाएगा कैसे, राइट, या फिर उसके बिना धर्म के साथ डिस्क्रिमिनेशन हो सकती है। such practices can be considered as an essential religious practice, right, and such practice must be binding. Such practice must be binding in a religion, then it can be considered as an essential religious practice, right. Now the Supreme Court, even in the Sabarimala case, included a very significant thing, right. In the Sabarimala case, which was related to the entry of women in Sabarimala temple in Kerala, the Supreme Court elaborated the understanding of essential practice, where the honorable judges of the Supreme Court, especially Justice Chandrachud, in his statement, in his verdict, stated or talked about that essential practices are also associated with the understanding of constitutional moralities. उन्होंने एसेंशियल प्रैक्टिस के आइडिया को ही एक्सपेंड कर दिया और कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल मॉरलिटी एक नई चीज ऐड करी, किसमें ऐड करी? एसेंशियल प्रैक्टिस के आइडिया में. फॉर एग्जांपल, बिकॉज दे सेड दैट the constitutional moralities, like the things like equality, the things like justice, all such constitutional moralities are also practiced in every religion. So all those religions, all the religions, the talk about the idea of dignity of an individual, the dignity of the practitioner, right? कि जो practitioner है, जो धर्म को practice कर रहा है, उसके rituals को practice कर रहा है, उनके लिए वो चीजें इंपॉर्टेंट हैं, जैसे इक्वालिटी है, जैसे जस्टिस है, जैसे लिबर्टी है, जैसे टॉलरेंस है. तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट के जज ने क्या बोला? करे यही सारी बातें हमारा संविधान भी कहता है, राइट? सो द आइडिया ऑफ doctrine of essential practice was associated with the understanding of constitutional morality as well, right? Now in this particular case, in the Karnataka case, the Karnataka judges also talked about Islamic law. The Karnataka judges, or they stated that there are four major sources of Islamic law. There are four major sources of Islamic law: Quran, Hadith, Ijma, and Qiyas, right? And the court in their judgment, or the judges in their judgment, they quoted some of the very famous Islamic scholars, right? They stated very Islamic, or they talked about some very famous Islamic scholars, and they stated that Quran, while quoting those Islamic scholars, while talking about those Islamic scholars, they stated that these Islamic scholars have stated that Quran states in a particular surah, the Quran tries to explain that there can be nothing that can be a compulsion in religion, right? They stated that there can be no compulsion in religion, right? And the Karnataka High Court stated that Quran is the ultimate source of Islamic law. Quran is the ultimate source of Islamic law, and while explaining or while elaborating the Islamic scholars' viewpoints on the Quran, they stated that they have stated, or they have talked about this idea that nothing in a religion can be a compulsion, right? So they stated, and moreover they said that in Quran nowhere the word hijab has been understood, or it has been explained that it is considered to be an essential practice. So ultimately the court decided that wearing of hijab is not an essential practice, and nothing of such sort is found in Quran. And they stated that maybe if you are saying, maybe the practitioners or the petitioners or the people who have petitioned in front of the court stating that it is in practice, they said that if you are saying that it is in practice under Article 25, because it is not a practice under Quran, it is not an essential practice under Quran. So the court said that if you are saying that it is a practice or a very important practice of Islam, then it can be undertaken under Article 25 of the Constitution, which talks about right to profess, practice, and propagate the religion of your own choice. And now, if this is a practice under Article 25 of the Constitution, if this is a practice under Article 25 of the Constitution, then such practice can have reasonable restrictions attached to it. They can have reasonable restrictions attached to it. And now these reasonable restrictions can even be the uniforms, right? So there can be a reasonable restriction attached to it. So first thing is that they said that there can be reasonable restriction attached to it. And second thing, the court tried to elaborate, or the court tried to explain that with respect to the dress code or the uniform that the students are prescribed, that whether it can be legally permissible. So they said, the court said the prescription of a uniform is a legally permissible right, and uniformity can be ensured by the schools, right? And they said that there is no matter, the court said that there is no matter in which we need to discuss about Article 19(1)(a, right to expression, and Article 21, right to privacy, with respect to the school uniforms. कोर्ट कहता कि petitioners जो हैं, जिन्होंने petition फाइल करी है, वो बुरी तरह फेल हुए हैं ये एक्सप्लेन करने में कि किस तरह से आर्टिकल 19(1)(a और आर्टिकल 21 को इसके साथ जोड़ा जाए, इसके संदर्भ में जोड़ा जाए, so that the people are allowed to wear a different dress code in a school. And moreover they said that the schools are legally permissible to announce or give a prescription of school uniform, so that there is uniformity in the schools. Right. So this is what is the judgment given by the Karnataka High Court in this particular case. So I hope you liked the video and you understood that what is ideally the judgment. And for more such videos, subscribe to our channel, and I'll see you next time. Until then, thank you and take care.